Today, Liss and I are going to explore the topic of fasting.
Hi, and welcome to Light for Life. If you are returning to our channel, thank you. We value and appreciate you. If you are new here, you are most welcome. I am Liss. I'm a Science of Mind practitioner and a teacher of various healing modalities applicable to all aspects of the self and this life.
And I am Lori. I am a holistic wellness researcher and educator. Welcome to Connections with Liss and Lori.
It is a very hot topic in the natural health world, in the holistic world, but we're hoping to expand the topic just a little further than just food, because fasting can have a much broader reach. It can be much more encompassing than we think when we go beyond just taking a pause from food for a moment. It can actually be a very sacred pause. It can be a very sacred journey at times to take a break from not just food, but we could take a break from literally everything, from news, from music, from movies, from books, from all of the things, and really look within, take a moment to just really dive into that pause of all things that we might be using to distract ourselves, or we might be using to feed something that might not be something we want to continue to feed. So I think it's a great topic to explore in ways maybe people just haven't thought about it before. What does it look like when we take a break physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, spiritually? And what do we detox? What do we shed during that time? I think it's actually pretty interesting. What do you think?
I came into this topic with my little list of things I wanted to discuss, and now your intro has just opened my mind to a whole different bunch of stuff that I hadn't even
Great.
thought of. So as always, it's so lovely to talk to you because I didn't even consider that component of it.
Okay.
And yes, how healing and how beautiful. It makes me think instantly of those silent retreats.
Yeah.
Where you go to a sanctuary or a temple or even just a spa and have a fast from speaking, whether that's for a day or for 3 days, just to literally be in that silence where you don't use your words. And how healing and restorative that can be towards actually hearing your own inner voice more clearly. And for me, that is one of fasting's greatest benefits. Whatever we might be fasting from, is the clarity that arrives to fill in the void. So whatever it is that we're fasting from, incredible clarity, whether it's fast from food or a mental lightness, when we're fasting in order to achieve mental guidance for decisions we're making or possibly problems we're facing, or emotional clarity that assists us perhaps to end things that need ending in our lives. Clarity is one of the greatest gifts of fasting, I think.
I have to agree. When I personally did a silent retreat, the clarity was a surprise to me because I didn't know what to expect. I had never done it before. But to take a pause so deeply like that, to literally not speak words for 36 hours, even though there's people all around, you're having meals with people in total silence. And it really propels you inward and really helps you, things become so much more clear, as does your body. Believe it or not, clearing the mind can clear the body too.
Yes. And the other thing I think that it gifts us is connection, not just with ourselves, but in the example that you just used, actually eating your meal in silence, actually literally just being present completely with the process of eating. You know, we make food such a bonding experience.
Yeah.
We eat with someone else and we have conversations, or guilty as charged, we use our eating time as entertainment time. The only time I get to watch YouTube channels that I follow and things like that is when I'm eating, because I can't be busy on my phone. So I tend to use my meal time for my entertainment time. And if we actually just take a fast from habits like that to become truly present in whatever way we formulate that for ourselves, everything takes on a tone of the sacred as a result. And we realize how sacred something as simple as sitting down to a meal actually is. To have that presence to bless what we're taking into our bodies, the practice of saying grace, but to say it throughout the meal, actually mindfully taking that nutrition in and being present with the process of supporting our own lives, it becomes a sacred experience. And there's nothing wrong with having festive and social and bonding experiences over food. Humans have always done that, right? But every now and then, to make a little ritual practice, doing it a different way, reminds us of what exactly it is that we're engaging in when we partake of nutrition. So yes, it can seem a little overdone perhaps to bring in concepts like clarity and connection and the sacred, but that's what it is to me. That's what it is to me.
And to me as well. It was interesting to really just be, you know, we always hear about be in the moment, be in the moment, be in the moment. Silence really forces you to just be right here and right now. And if we look at, you know, moving into the mental fasting and the emotional fasting and the spiritual fasting, all of this really can be such a reverent space and expansive and enlightening. We can learn so much about ourselves if we just stop and listen.
And it's so powerful. Honey, it's so powerful. When I fast for spiritual reasons, I find that my manifestations are so rapid, so effortless. And in particular, when it's a fast of not just personal sacrifice for my own sake, but a fast in order to give. So I'm going to go without so that I can give what I had. So in other words, instead of whatever that is being for me, I turn that into an act of generosity and then ask for what it is that I'm desiring to fill in the gap. Those manifestations are instant. We're not doing it with the expectation of return. We're literally doing it as an energy exchange. So it's not like, all right, I've given this, so now I'm going to get that. It's not ego-based at all. It's like, with all my love, I'm going to give this thing, and I'm going to go without happily. And in return, I know that that energy is going to return to me. So perhaps I'm sacrificing my meals for a few days in order to help someone who's worse off than me. And I do that with love. And I ask that the energy exchange that comes to me in return for that gift is help with a particular decision I've been struggling with. Just like that. I don't have to wait. I don't have to ponder. I don't have to meditate. It becomes so crystal clear so instantly. And it's so beautiful. But there's also a way that I personally often engage in for spiritual growth, which is to literally have a fast in order to ascend, in order to vibrate higher, in order to integrate and embody greater frequencies. And there literally is a practice around doing that that's astrologically based. So for me, the time of year is coming up right now this month in which I do that. I am a Libra, and it is full moon in Libra on the 14th of April. So I will be going into my protocol after this weekend ahead of that fast, because I always fast when the full moon is in my sun sign. That is my power moment. And I encourage anyone who is looking at fasting as a spiritual practice in order to embody greater frequencies and more energy and more of your higher self, that is the time to do it. Whatever your astrological sun sign is, find out when it is full moon in your sun sign, and that is your perfect spiritual fasting window.
Well, that's fascinating. I've never heard that. Now I need to find out what my sun sign is. How long do you
Your
fast?
sun sign is Scorpio, my darling.
Oh,
your
okay.
sun sign is Scorpio.
Okay.
What you need to find out is when is it full moon in Scorpio.
I think it was last fall.
Well, then you can plan for it for the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll take a look again, but if I'm remembering correctly, it was actually right around my birthday. But I'll take a look again. Do you fast for 24 hours, 36 hours a week?
No, we can actually have a whole discussion about how to fast and how long to fast for, because there is actually a correct way, which is safe to do it, and then a way to preferably not do it. I tend to fast for 2 weeks, but it's I will fast from full moon to new moon. But I have a whole protocol that I follow, so I can share that if you like.
I think it would be wise because we don't want to lead people down a potential road of fasting without giving some golden nuggets.
Yeah. So essentially, the first thing to consider is the state of your physical health. Because fasting from food primarily is a physical healing tool. Because digestion is the most energetically consumative process that the body can undergo. So when we don't burden the body with needing to digest food, we are freeing up so much physical energy to focus on healing activities that ordinarily would only happen when we're sleeping, if we don't do things like eat full meals too late at night and things like that. The only time that the body actually directs energy towards healing is when we're sleeping, and we're sleeping healthily. So in other words, we've taken care of our metabolism during the daylight hours. So when we fast and the body does not have to digest food, we freed up all this energy to focus on healing instead. So the very first thing that the body does is detox. And that is why so many people experience fasting awfully. They feel like they have the flu. They feel nauseous. They get terrible headaches. They have insomnia. And they think, oh, no, fasting is dreadful. What is everybody going on about what a wonderful experience it is? I feel dreadful. And that is because you are unpracticed at fasting, first of all. So the body has a lot to throw off, and it's going to take the opportunity you've just handed it to throw off as much as possible. So yes, you're going to feel terrible. And secondly, you also haven't prepared your body for the fact that you're going to be doing this. And there is a very easy way to do that. And that is literally to sit and think for yourself, how many days do you actually want to fast? How many days do you want to be completely without food and only drink water? That's the first thing you need to decide. And if you are a new faster, I would advise just 1 day. Just 1 day.
Wow.
Because what you're going to do is you're going to buffer your 1 day on either side of that 1 day by a gentle easing in process. So for 1 day, you're going to need 5 days in advance and 5 days after. So a 1 day fast is actually an 11-day program. Does that make sense?
Of course, I get it.
Okay. So on your first day of the 5 days leading up to your fast, your first day, you're going to cut out everything you have that's bad. So no sugar, no red meat on the fire, no alcohol, none of the stuff that's bad. That's the first thing you do on the first day of your fast. Cut out everything you have that's bad. Second day of your 5-day buffer, you're going to only have really healthy cooked food, but lightly cooked. So I'm talking steamed vegetables, not a lot of spices, nothing like that. just really healthy and preferably correctly combined meals. And the greatest secrets to correctly combined meals is that you never consume protein and starch together, and you always start your day with fruit. Those are the two main rules. Then on your third day, you're going to move to half lightly cooked and half raw. So one meal will be steamed veggies, and the other meal will be salad, and the other will be fruit. And then on your fourth day, you're only going to have raw. Nothing cooked at all, just raw. And then on your fifth day, you're only going to have juice. Then you have your fast day of just water, and then you reverse that process as you're coming out of your one day. So again, your first day is just juice, then your second day would be only raw, your third day would be half raw, half lightly cooked, your fourth day cooked but healthy, and your fifth day, let's not go back to the bad stuff. How about that? If we've managed to cut out the sugar and the soft drinks and everything else for 11 days, you've broken the habit. Your body feels so great. You're going to feel so clear, so vital, literally energized and light. That's what I love. You literally defy gravity. I personally adore feeling hungry. I love it. And I know that might not sound like a healthy thing to say, but it makes me feel like I feel when I dance. I feel airborne. I literally feel light. And that is such a wonderful feeling to hold in the body that is so subject to gravity, that is often so heavy. To me, that's one of the greatest blessings of having a fast, is to actually have that sense of lightness in my physical body. Because my body, throughout my life, has not been very healthy. I struggle with many issues. And one of them is that I so often feel heavy. I feel like I plod through life a little bit like a penguin. And so to feel light on my feet is a gift. So when I say I'm fasting for 14 days, I'm actually only going without food completely for 3.
Okay.
But I have the buffer days built in around it in order to ease into it healthily. Even though I fast often, I don't want to feel lousy. So when you ease into it through that program, it's just so much kinder to the self. Because you've actually set your body up with the process of releasing the toxins more gently.
Do you, when you're just doing the fasting portion, those 3 days, and I imagine you're doing only water, not any broth or anything like that?
No.
And what about minerals? Do you add minerals to your water?
Okay. Not on the fast days, no.
Okay.
No.
I know a lot of people do minerals on the days that they just do the water, because it can help a little bit with that detox flu and those Herx reactions. Sometimes just a little boost of minerals helps you minimize like a headache, for example, because headaches are so common when we go off of sugar, when we go off of all of the toxins that can be in our food. Sometimes the first sign is a headache, and sometimes minerals can really help alleviate that in a really natural way, where you're not turning to ibuprofen, or you're not considering quitting your fast because you feel like garbage. So
yeah, I am blessed that I honestly never do. I always feel fantastic when I fast. And I think it's because it's such a regular practice, and because I've done it for so many years. I recall the first time that I fasted. I remember that feeling very, very well. It was decades ago, but it was absolutely awful. Those headaches were from hell, and I was determined. I was not going to have a paracetamol no matter what. And I didn't, but it was too terrible. It really was. But yeah, and I don't need the minerals, honey, because I don't feel bad. Quite the contrary. I start feeling better and better and better. I am so energized, and it feels fantastic. Nice. So I love fasting. Absolutely love fasting.
I've only done it twice. And the first time for me was that horrible, horrible headache. And I was so incredibly dizzy. I was crawling. Yeah, I crawled from the bed to the couch, to the bathroom, to the couch, to the bathroom, to the couch. And all I really could do is just drink as much water as I could possibly get in and try to rinse it all out. But it was not a fun day. Thankfully, it was only one.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not. And so, you know, people, once again, you need to consult your own heart and you need to be honest about the condition that your body is in. How badly do you think you're going to be affected? And that's why I always say baby steps. Go into it with that buffer and just be gentle with yourself the first time. Maybe you're only going to do water for half of the day. You're going to start with water only for 12 hours. That's okay. Start.
Start. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Just start. Start with where you're at, being realistic with, like you said, being realistic with what your baseline is. And just go from there. Be gentle with yourself and dive in deeper when you feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not trying to say that, you know, I'm all clear. I know that I'm not. I've received a lot of very heavy metal based medications in my life and things like that. But that is where my body blesses me, in that a lot of that is actually stored in the fat tissues. So I just have to be careful that I don't lose too much weight too rapidly, which luckily I don't. It's something I struggle with. So not too much is released at once, because that's one of the ways that the body protects the organs, is that those toxins are actually saved in fat cells where they can't do you any harm. Yeah. So, you know, I'm not going to go 14 days with no food, because that's going to feel really, really bad.
Yeah.
But 3 is okay, because I mean, I barely lose 100 grams in 3 days. So I'm okay.
And you raise a good point. A lot of times when people are on a weight loss trajectory, they often do feel absolutely horrible, and it throws them off of their plan, and they go back to the old habits, and they essentially, you know, fall off the train track, because releasing the toxins from the fat cells, you know, we want to lose weight, right? We want to maintain a healthy weight, and sometimes we have to lose that extra weight to do that. And then all of that toxicity comes out, and they don't realize that there's things that they can do to minimize that. There's things that they can do to even prevent that. So quick is not always the best route.
No. And as much as, you know, we don't want to be fat and we don't like fat and we always want to lose our fat, I have learned to be grateful for it, because I understand that it is my body protecting me. My kidneys have to be at a certain level for them to be able to even process the toxins that could potentially be released. So to be weight loss resistant, and it's about truly coming into a space of gratitude that we've decided to resent the most, that is actually protecting us, because that's what the body does. It's here to preserve our lives and keep us safe. And we can thank it in turn by doing kind and wonderful things for it, like the occasional fast that we do safely and we do well.
Thank you for connecting with Light for Life. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to work with one of us, you can find our contact information in the About section.
Please share your insights, your questions, and your comments with us. We value your feedback. And we really hope that we will see you for our next episode. We upload one every Thursday.
Until we connect again, we send you love and light.